We are now being joined again by dperry. Thank you so much for joining us back here on NewsX World. What does Xi's idea of a grand plan for China-Russia relations really mean for their long-term partnership?
Well, China basically is a provider of a rescue umbrella for Russia, and in this way they create a client state, which is part of China's basic desire to have influence in the world. In general, the very nature of how China comports itself makes it impossible to have a significant sanctions regime against any rogue country. China buys almost half of Russia's oil. 47%, I believe. In the same way, Russia provides a market for Iranian oil. So if you're trying to create, to have sanctions on any country that is not China, you can pretty much assume that China is not going to play along, and because it's so huge, will help that country survive. And China provides Russia with more than just a market for its oil. They don't do direct military aid, but they are a major strategic and technological backstop. They provide them with vehicles and with industrial materials, and in this way create Russian dependency on China. For Russia, the interest is very, very clear. They are no longer completely isolated in the world, given the fact that a country that accounts for between a quarter and a third of global trade and about a fifth of the global population is a major ally. So that's a huge win for Putin. And combined with the fact that at least until now he's found a market for oil and other things in India, it has enabled him to survive what would otherwise have been crippling sanctions imposed by the West. So the mutual interest is clear. For China, there is influence and dependency created. For Russia, it's a life vest, basically, a survival tactic.
How important is this no limits partnership as Russia faces the Ukraine war and Western sanctions?
Hugely important. I would wonder if no limits means they're going to openly give Russia military aid, the way Iran had supplied it with drones. It makes Putin more likely to double down on a war that has become nothing short of a disaster for Russia, but not necessarily a disaster for the corrupt ruling elite in Russia, that in the context of a war economy has been able to further enrich itself amid their indifference to the loss of possibly up to 1 million Russian lives.
Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us here today on NewsX World.